Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of Where the Heck Are the Albans? And where the heck are the Albans? We are in Rockford, Illinois, and we are actually at the Sock Monkey National Museum.
Well, it's not called the Sock Monkey Museum.
It isn't. What's it called?
It's called the Midway Village and Museum.
The Midway Village and Museum Center.
It actually has sock monkeys.
But it has a Sock Monkey Museum inside of it.
She has a mustache.
I see that.
And a little beard.
A little goatee going on here. So, but her name is Soxanne. Okay, so this is much more than just sock monkeys. This is a whole village and the whole history of Rockford. So we're gonna learn a whole bunch of stuff today. So what do sock monkeys and this man have in common? So we're going to discover more in the missing link: socks, monkeys, and Rockford's industrial past. And look at that. It's the Rockford Peaches. Greetings from Rockford, Illinois.
Please keep on.
This guy used to sit on top of a rooftop, and here's the picture of him. See him right there? That's pretty cool. Wow, look at this flag. This was our nation's flag in 1836. And very few people actually lived in northern Illinois, and there were only 25 states then. So the flag has 25 stars. This is such a great museum. They got things like things were measured with a chain. And that's how you would mark out a square mile, is with these chains. What else have they got here? Prairie life. It's very interesting stuff. Wait a minute. Picture yourself on the prairie.
It's a sheet of ice. We made 18 miles that first day from Chicago.
This lady right here, her name was Nancy Ostendorf, and in 1958 she went to her high school prom. And this was her dress.
I thought that was a Maine West. Just as West High School.
Okay, what fate awaits? Guys, spin the wheel. Let's see what fate awaits Vivian.
When you pass through immigration, you are suspected of being an anarchist, someone who wants to overthrow the government. You are held for hearing with special inquiries to clear your name.
Wow.
All right, Amber, what?
And Emerson's fate in 1900. By the way, if you're spinning the wheel, you're an immigrant and you've saved up enough money to come to America. So as soon as you get off the boat, this is the fate that would await you.
You have a job lined up with your aunt and uncle when you reach Rockford. They offer you a place to stay until you can afford one of your own. Good.
Pretty darn good.
All right, let's see. When you arrive at Ellis Island, you realize you do not have enough money for your train ticket to Rockford. You will have to stay in New York until you can save enough money. Looks like prostitution it is. No. Father. Father.
Oh, I get to do it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I fail the Immigration Public Health Service medical exam and I am deported. I won't be able to return to the United States.
Keep your
My
foreign disease.
dream is shot.
That's good.
So all through the museum, they have timelines. And they have little sock monkeys hanging all over the place. Oh, look at the size of this sock monkey right here. Oh, look at him, he's huge. This is a circular knitting machine. Looks like a torture device. It's a sock monkey puppet theater.
Why do gorillas have big noses?
Why do gorillas have big noses?
Because
What?
they have big fingers.
They're all week. They're here all week, folks.
What's a monkey's favorite cookie?
What is a monkey's favorite cookie?
Chocolate chip.
A chocolate chimp.
Die, monkey!
He's about to take a picture of what? These two monkeys.
Baseball.
Look at all the
Today.
sock monkeys. So
Kodak.
Rockford is the home of the sock monkey. In the event this design patent is not declared void, every woman in America who uses your socks would technically be in violation of this patent. In February of 1951, Mrs. Grace Wingate of Rockford made this sock monkey. That's the very first sock monkey ever made, as a Valentine's Day gift for her grandson. She later gave it to Nelson Knitting to use as evidence that Helen Cook's 1953 patent was not valid. It helped prove that the dolls were made before 1953. Mrs. Wingate also gave a sworn statement, which is right there, about making the dolls. This evidence helped convince Cook to give up her lawsuit and transfer the patent for the doll to the Nelson Knitting Company, right here in Rockford, Illinois. At the Rockford Ice Hogs, which is their hockey team. Their minor.
I'm sorry.
Cheap Trick. That's the sculpture's name right there. Look at these guys. So this is the sock monkey evolution. This is kind of how it started. And then went from there and turned into this guy. And we're about to go and see a little bit of history on the Rockford Peaches, the girls of summer. Is this one of the mannequins? I don't think so. I think it's a Vivian.
I have a jiggly butt.
The Peaches received this trophy for winning the league championship series in 1949, but they also won it in 1948. There. They played in the league for 12 years. And those are the original. Well, actually, here's the original Rockford Peaches right there. And here's some of the artifacts. This is Barbara Bobby Thompson. She left the Peaches after the 1952 season, and she became a nurse. She's retired now and she lives in Rockford still. But there's her picture when she was, actually maybe I can get it better up here. I got a lot of reflection on the glass. But this was her glove, her shoes. There's a ball that's signed by her. And there is an original Rockford Peach uniform.
Hey, Father.
You know what I'm saying?
So we're going to leave this indoor museum just for a few minutes, and we're going to go out to the village because there's a museum tour. Emerson's going to milk a cow real quick. But in about 12 minutes, we got
I don't think you twist them.
a toured museum, or a tour through the village museum. So we're gonna go to the right. Got a map here, and we have to meet at building number 21, which is the general store. So we're entering Main Street in the old Victorian Village. We're supposed to meet up at the general store at 2 o'clock. What time is it?
152.
1:52, so
Scratching your
in
forehead.
a few minutes we'll be going right over to that lady there at the general store.
Kevin and Fiona are fighting in my head.
Gonna take a little tour of this town.
It was called Midway back in 1834 because it was midway between Chicago and Galena. In 1834, Chicago had a population of 150 people. It was really just a muddy little town on the banks of Lake Michigan. Galena was the big and upcoming city. It was the big lead mining city. And so it needed Lake Michigan and it needed the Rock River in order to transport the lead. So Dramaticus Kent, Thatcher Blake, and Lewis Lemon got this brilliant idea. Let's get a midway point. It took 24 hours to get from Chicago to here, and another 24 hours to get from here to Galena. So 48-hour trip is a long trip. Even 24 on horse and buggy is a long trip. So they would make a halfway point here. Rockford was really good because it had that Rock River there. It was a great way to get from the lead, moved down to the Mississippi and all parts in between. So it grew really, really rapidly. It grew very fast. Kind of a jelly-like substance. And they would swallow that for sore throats. It was very comforting and soothing. They figured out if they sweetened it, it was even better, and they would make candy out of it. Well, then eventually it evolved into a marshmallow. And now we have marshmallows minus the marshmallow plant, but the name stuck. That's where it started. There's also a plant in here which is really weird. It's called the gas plant. And the flower will bloom, and if you light a match near it, the gas explodes around the flower. You're not supposed to touch it because it actually can burn.
I had no idea that marshmallows came from a plant.
Well, they don't.
Or they don't anymore. But back then, they did.
Full. You use whatever you can for anything else. So they were quite good at recycling. The sewing machine, I don't know how old it is. But there's an interesting story about it. There was a man named Hunt who created the first sewing machine with a needle that would go up and down. And he started producing it. He patented it into today. So here's your Home Depot. Here's your Lowe's, your Menards, your do-it-yourselfers. J.L. Clark opened a hardware store on State Street and 2nd Avenue downtown. This is a reproduction building of 3/4 the size of the original building. He started off, he was a tinsmith, or he loved tinsmithing, but he eventually wanted to go out to Colorado and become a rancher. That never happened. He invented something while he was here in Rockford. They were flue stocks were everywhere. This was a flue stock. And if we go into one of the buildings, I can show you how they were used. but you have the big pot-belly stoves and then the chimney that come out and they connect to the wall. And then when they would disconnect that chimney for whatever reason, they would leave a big hole in the wall, and that was not so pleasant to look at. It smelled, and animals, critters could come in and out. And so he developed, the flue stop was in use, but not the way he designed it. He designed it so that it could lay down and store flat. So if you could have a whole bunch of these all over the house, and you could store them flat, they wouldn't take a lot of space up. He sold these for 5 cents a piece. By 1919, the time of his death, he had sold 10 million of these.
Wow.
It put J.L. Clark on the map, of all things. What he's really known for today is making the small containers, the canisters. Even today, if you buy Gold Bond, the canister you bought Gold Bond in was probably made by J.L. Clark, down off of, and I think they're on Kishwaukee today. I don't think they have the same place.
You can borrow from me and you need
All
a
right, we're gonna go check out the
What would
bank
you
now. We were just in the
You would need a
J.L. Clark hardwood store. So let's go on into the bank.
Let's see what we can do. Lemonade, and they come up to those bars and bring their money up to the banker, and they go out to the Breckenridge, a little white house out there, and they make their lemonade out in front of there. So you've just been in 2 famous buildings here. So there was a attempted robbery in this bank in the late 1880s. But you know that saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail? Woo-hoo. They failed. They didn't bring any tools to break into the safe when they broke in, so they stole some from a neighboring blacksmith. They broke into 1 set of doors. They couldn't break into the second set of doors, and so they left their tools and they took off, but they didn't bring anything to run away on or to get away on, so they didn't have their horses. So they stole somebody's horses and a wagon to get away in. I don't know why the wagon, but I guess they were thinking ahead. Maybe now they were trying to plan. So anyway, they weren't successful, but the bank did have an attempted robbery of it. So, but that's its big claim to fame. They did turn it into a home for a while, and somebody actually lived in here, and then we moved it here to this location in the 1980s.
Here's the blacksmith.
Poles here that are wrapped in chains to try to deaden the sound, because you're hitting hammer on metal, and it's a very harsh sound on the ear. It's a very bright sound, and it hurts. That way. So originally it was built out of stone. It burnt down. They rebuilt it out of wood, but just kept calling it the Old Stone School. So habitually we still call it the Old Stone School. Now I try to explain to school kids. We do a lot of tours here. We had 5,000 kids here last week. Oh my gosh. Believe it or not, 5,000 bust in here. 5,000 kids. Try to explain to them what a one-room schoolhouse is, and it's kind of like, what?
Yeah.
So we talk about, okay, how many rooms are in your school? So they have libraries and cafeterias and teacher's lounge, and they have an art room and a music room, and they have this room and that room. And we go through the whole list and we talk, well, this is it. And not only is this it for this school, it was 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade in this classroom. And their eyes get about this big, and they go, well, how did they do that? The teacher worked hard. But she also employed and used the older students to help with the younger students.
So even though we have a tour guide, basically we kind of get to pick and choose which buildings we want to go in. But there's just a certain amount of time allotment. So they say, okay, we have an hour, but what does everybody want to see? So everybody wanted to see the schoolhouse, everybody wanted to see the blacksmith, and we are right now going to the last building. She gave us a choice. She said you can either see this, this, or this, and everybody chose the hospital or the doctor's office. So we're going to take a look at that right now. So at the time, this was the Rockford Hospital. Looked just like a regular house. And look, there's a little cemetery over there. That would be the church.
Oh, they're still like that. They just want you to do what they tell you to do. So, again, no bathroom facilities. So your bathrooms are your chamber pots, bedpans. You have.
Did they go to Ireland?
Yeah, basically what we're at right now is we are in a museum for miniatures, so doll houses. And what each house is inspired by a place that they had visited, these people. And they've got a map here on the wall of the different places that they've been. So things like Ireland and France and Italy
Netherlands,
and
Sweden.
Africa and China, Japan, Philippines,
Thailand.
So yeah.
And all the miniatures they got from those countries and stuff.
Yes.
And then they built the houses around that.
Excellent.
And about the way of life in those.
Yeah.
Look at the Finland house.
Finland.
Romania.
It's a Japanese village home. I like the little lanterns. That is fascinating. A French chateau. Based on the book City Mouse and Country Mouse. So here would be the Country Mouse. Oh my gosh. City Mouse house. Oh, the City Mouse and the Country Mouse. I get it. China.
Gorgeous.
Wow. That is beautiful. All right, and we wind up in the gift shop. I like him. I like the sock monkey umbrella. That's awesome. Jerry's hamburgers. Yeah. Got t-shirts. It says Midway Village Museum in Rockford. This Liberty Bell is an exact replica of the original Philadelphia Bell.
Is it?
It just doesn't have the crack in it.
Here, let's make one.
It is an exact replica, so that is the size of it right there. So I like your sock monkey. You bought a sock monkey.
Yeah, do you know what her name is?
What is her name?
Ginny Weasley.
Ginny
Weasley.
Weasley. Because of course it has to have something to do with Harry Potter.